We should remember things are changing, but some things do stay the same.
Oh, don't worry, sir. Just the feel of this fine fabric on my skin reminds me of where I got it from, how I got it, how I can get more.
Exactly. From me.
From you.
Good boy. Good boy.
Oh, fuck.
And I'll pat him on the shoulder and stroll away.
Yeah, I'm not sure who came out on top in that. I think it was Antonio.
I feel like I had to lower myself a lot more than I was comfortable with there.
Yeah, so I do think that Antonio was what the system calls the petitioner, the one trying to get something there. So, Antonio, do you feel you're a winner in that?
If I think that he's going to go out there and do the job I expect him to do, then yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Right, so that is a token then to Tiago for his slight debasement, I suppose you might say. Oh, and Antonio has 0, so we create another token. This is the thing, you can actually kind of game the system a bit against the GM to create more tokens if you want, but it takes so much thinking in advance. No one ever bothers. Okay, Tiago has 2 now and therefore can do forces. FYI, everyone. So let's have a scene from... Oh, Fortunata, left behind on the dance floor. Where do we see her next?
I'm giving this Don Miguel fellow a chance. I am taking him to Mama's. And I want to see what he thinks of the local music scene. And see if maybe the better rhythms of Mama's loosen up his tongue and his feet for good dancing.
I'd like to suggest that like Mama's right now, it's hopping right now.
Definitely.
And I think at night I actually have people who work the bar, so I don't have to be doing that. I can kind of circulate, right, and keep my eye on that mirror. So yeah, there's like band, like there's a bunch of people. I think there's even like a little outdoor patio that like, so the party kind of spills out, there a little bit. And I see you come in. And I come up to you and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you bringing someone like him here?
And I'll interject here that Don Miguel is wearing the classic kind of, his suit involves a cummerbund, It's like that.
Right, exactly. Right, yeah.
This figure with sticking out ears and isn't this jolly when he looks at things? He's not.
Oh my God. And I'm like, from an old aristocratic family.
I'm like, he's only about like 25, but he already looks and sounds like he's half a century old. Yeah.
And I kind of roll my eyes but smile because I do kind of think he's cute. But I'm like, Mama, I'm just taking your advice and my brother's advice. I'm trying to be myself and live up to my station. But also who I am is I love this music and I love this dance. And I have to see something here now. And I grab Don and I try and bring him onto the dance floor and see if he can keep up.
I have no objection to this if you want to. I mean, like, I'm not, that could be a Don Miguel thing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the Don is a sort of what we might term in my country a soppy whelk. So he offers very little resistance being dragged onto the dance floor. But as to your question, can he keep up? No, he can't at all.
No.
He's sort of there kind of lamely going, what is this? This is women's rhythm. Quite seem to, how does one put one's feet? Is it here and then, oh dear. And at some point he's had someone bring him a martini, which is completely inappropriate, and that goes everywhere. And then, he's all elbows, and he keeps getting people in the ribs by mistake. Oh, I'm quite sorry. Pardon me. I really yeah. So that went great. How long do you maintain this? How long do you keep trying?
I don't like push him too hard. Like I have like one dance. I see it doesn't go great, and then I think we take a seat, and Mama can come back around. But I think what I want from this scene is actually with Don Miguel. I want to see if he appreciates the music or appreciates me enough to pretend he appreciates the music, or if he doesn't, or like thinks that like this is beneath him or something. Like that will basically be the end of this.
You see in a moment when he thinks you're not looking, you see this little kind of almost childlike smile of glee on his face. And he turns around and sees you him and sort of tries to look more serious. And he goes, yeah, it's tremendous actually. And then he thinks about what just happened on the dance floor, and you can see he gets embarrassed. And he goes, but I think perhaps, I ought to be, we probably ought to return to where your brother is. I'm sure they'll be missing us already, and I think we have several engagements on the morrow. So, I mean, I don't want to be frightfully rude or anything, but he can't do talking to people. He's awful at this.
And I'm like, do you like it? I simply adore it.
I mean, I must say, I find it a trifle odd, but I certainly see the appeal. There's tremendous joie de vivre about the whole milieu.
Then stay with me and watch. We don't need to go back.
Oh, but I couldn't possibly. I mean, we're not even chaperoned. But he's saying that, but he's not really making any moves to leave. He's just sort of, and he keeps looking back at the dance floor and the band. He's very interested in the band. He's never heard this kind of music before.
And I wave Mama over, and I'm just going to get us some light food if they're still doing food and drinks, because we're not leaving. We're getting established.
All right. I think that might be the scene then. You guys receiving your drinks, and yeah. Okay, cool. I guess that's what you wanted. Yeah, I guess so.
That is what I wanted. Yeah, he appreciates this in a way that I similarly appreciate it, and he stayed.
Yeah, he's a total dork, but I
just want to wrap on Miguel in a blanket and give him a cookie and just pat him on the head like, it'll be okay, buddy.
It's not going to last 5 minutes in this city. But yeah. All right, let's hear from... yeah. What is Tiago up to now? I mean, he's been kind of kicked out of one ball and he's not at Mum as well. He might turn up, I guess. What's Tiago doing tonight?
I think Tiago is sort of... been planning something up. Antonio, I imagine like you and your revolutionary buddies or whatever, like you have a sort of campaign center, a sort of like office where you're working things from.
Yeah, I would imagine they're probably out of like a club or a coffee house sort of thing. I said a gentleman's club, not like a disco.
Yeah, I gotcha. I've been working up a plan to rob from the campaign club there.
Ah.
I'm not sure exactly how to frame out this scene, though.
Well, luckily there is... you'd be surprised how often this came up in playtesting, so there is a dedicated breaking and entering move if that's what you have in mind.
Oh, wow, okay.
every goddamn game. Yeah, surprisingly, I hadn't actually read Monster of the Week when I wrote this, but when you commit a burglary, roll sneaking, and then there are some options depending on how well it goes. You don't seem to have a sneaking...
I don't seem to have that.
Do you think your St. Christopher medal might help here?
Yeah, I think he... this is maybe the third night in a row he's come back to sort of watch the joint and see when things really die down. Okay, this is the night, and he has the medal just sort of in his hand. He's been sort of rubbing at it. He just brings it up, kisses it, and moves forward.
Cool. Okay, so cross off that resource for the time being, and give me a d6 plus 2.
So that's a 6.
Nice. Okay. On a 6. Oh. All 3. This is... You get what you're after. You don't get caught. Tell us how it goes. Tell us how you nearly get caught and then don't.
I think there's like a sort of central library study room. It's all bookshelves and mahogany and tobacco-stained leather and fireplaces and dead animal heads and stuff. I know there's a safe in there, like they keep a combination lock safe under the big heavy desk there. And so I'm certain everybody's left. And, I'm sort of sneaking as best I can as I make it like around the alley and into this place. But once I'm in, I'm a little more cocky, a little more sure of things. I just sort of move straight through to that library. And as I'm heading over towards the desk, like one of the enormous leather chairs by the fireplace, it's turned the other way, I can't see, and there's just like this sort of snore from it. Like there's one rich old bastard that's just like fallen asleep in the club and everybody forgot about him. And so it becomes much more of a sneaking thing. I think that frightens me, and like I almost knock over a lamp on a desk that's like on its edge, teetering as I'm on one foot having grabbed it, sort of thing. I managed to sneak it back up on its thing. and quieter and more carefully now make it over to the desk. I've managed to position myself to see this combination once or twice, and I'm quite sure on the last number, but I'm pretty close. And I think after a couple of tries, I managed to get it open. And there is the future that I'm looking for.
And what is inside there? Or would you like to just reveal that at a later time? That's up to you.
I'm sort of torn between just straight up money or maybe something crueler, like something to blackmail Antonio with or something like that.
Yeah, I think maybe the latter seems like a more fruitful thing to get. And of course, you could convert that into wealth by talking to Antonio's enemies later on fairly easily. So maybe let's just have you grab a couple of ledgers or small files that are kept in there and we don't see what's inside just yet. How about that?
Cool.
Nicely done. If you want to get the use of that resource back in future, you'll have to call a scene where, I don't know, I guess praying to St. Christopher might be a suitable way to refresh that one, but we'll see. Yeah, all right. And next we have Mama.
I'd like to advance to a time where Don Miguel and Fortunata had been kind of appearing at the bar a little bit more often. Maybe Don Miguel's trying to become something of a fixture in the community, or he's in the community a little bit, right? Maybe it's hapless, maybe it's not working out great, but he's around. And what I'm interested in doing, I think the scene is basically me looking at the bar early in the day. Maria is there, wiping down the bar, cleaning glasses, things like that, getting things ready for the evening. Sort of a lazy, early morning light kind of like pouring through front. I've got a lease that is presently unsigned that I've been trying to get Antonio to sign for months now. Like he's kind of keeping me on edge, like he won't sign this lease. And I'm wondering what I can do to leverage Don Miguel against Antonio. I think what I'd like to do is my where everybody knows your name move, and basically like chat up a local to find out what Don Miguel has been up to these last days.
Okay.
Because
Go ahead and roll business for me. So adding your bonus if you feel the need.
You might as well. Yeah, I'll do it. 6.
Up to 3 questions from that list.
Indeed. Are you ready? Do you need a minute or?
I think I'm good. Yeah, go on.
Okay. What or who do they love best?
He is a kind of riding in the country, solitude of nature, composing poems while walking on hills over lakes kind of guy. And he really has been missing his estate at home in Extremadura. And that kind of scene, if he could get that in Brazil, that might make him stay. But that's what he's a kind of solitary guy. He loves that, being out by himself, looking at trees and flowers and things.
What have they been doing lately in the community? I'm kind of curious about.
Well, he has been taken to dinner a lot by Antonio. I think that's fair to say, right? He's been signing lots of deals and receiving loans for like a silver mine and stuff like that somewhere in the interior. More notoriously, he's been showing up at your place all the time and going around the whole Boho Lapa district with Fortunata. And sometimes, though she doesn't know this, with other people.
That's the part where my ears will prick up, I think. And finally, who do they know, like, and or trust?
Well, so let's establish that you know that he likes Fortunata, though you saw them together, but you know that for a fact. Worryingly, he trusts Antonio. That's kind of it. Antonio is the one that got him to Rio. He doesn't really know anyone else in those circles. I mean, he's met them at parties now. But the person he actually knows, believes in, is Antonio.
Okay, perfect. I think I'm done.
I just don't understand why people don't love Antonio. He's clearly just a pillar of the community and an all-around decent guy.
I love it when he's on screen, but I don't think I could ever bring myself to love him.
He is someone like that you love to hate so much.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that like I'm loving everything about this. Like the session is giving me everything I need. So this is great.
Cool.
Been amazing so far, yeah.
Come to that everybody's favorite pillar of the community, Antonio.
All right, I think I'm going to be. I probably am aware that these papers have disappeared, and it's made me a little more paranoid. So I've gone out and I think I've hired, if I'm capable of it, Panito.
I've forgotten all the NPCs' names. The toughest guy in the neighborhood?
That's the one.
Pequeño, which means small,
Pequeño. And I think I'm going to Mama's with him and my lawyer to discuss the lease. It's probably been a few days since the disappearance of the papers, but I'm feeling like I need to solidify things before these elections, and I have a plan to get that done.
Okay, so I'm guessing Mama's going to be in there. Would you call Fortunato and or Tiago in that scene as well?
I wouldn't call them. Either one of them could be there, and with me having different impressions of seeing either one of them there. So if Fortunato wants to be there slumming, or Tiago is there and just being there, that's perfectly fine with me.
I'm getting a no on both those. So okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'll see if something makes sense further in the scene, but
They can enter
really
later,
is
right?
no.
I mean,
Sure. Your lawyer, who let's say his name is Jose Coelho, if that becomes relevant, and Mama is there as well, and probably like a couple members of staff in the background if you need to call for help. So yeah.
I'm coming fairly early in the morning, and as I walk in, I'll motion my two gentlemen there to tables and take a paper or two from my lawyer and head up to the bar.
to suggest that like really early in the morning, I think I have a long-standing card game with some locals, and we meet at like 6 in the morning to play cards. We've been doing it for years.
Local fishwives and other neighborhood characters.
6 in the morning, we come in, we play this card game, right? It's also like really like prime opportunity to get like the good gossip and the good information about the community. You can approach me there then. Sorry. Yeah.
All right. Senora Mamacita, how very nice to see you in such productive activities.
Antonio, I'm surprised you're here. You normally, well, it's at least 2 more hours before you have your breakfast served in bed. What could possibly rouse you at this time?
I thought maybe an early start for good news would be pleasant. Do you mind perhaps a moment of your time?
Since you have brought your lawyer, how can I refuse? I have to imagine this has to do with the lease that you won't sign.
Well, I think that perhaps we can fix that. May we?
Splendid. One moment. And then I lay down my cards, 3 of a kind, and then everyone is like, right, yeah, exactly. I'm aware of the lawyer, and you also brought a tough with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm actually more concerned about the lawyer. He's the one I've got my eyes on. Toughs I can deal with. I go around the other side of the bar. All right, let's talk.
Oh, Signora, I have nothing but the greatest respect for your standing here in this community, and your business not only thrives, but provides a wonderful service. I can't imagine what the community would be like without it. I'll lay the lease down on the bar. I think that perhaps we could arrange something that might be beneficial to us both. You'll notice your lease has a lower rent here. Merely a pittance, in fact. However, it would be only right if we could arrange some sort of, beneficial gain for me. Elections are coming up very soon, Signora Finesca, and you have a very loud voice in this community.
I don't do politics. You know that, Antonio.
Well, perhaps you could make an exception. A small gathering here. Your patrons, I would, of course, provide refreshments at a considerable markup, even. A small rally, an opportunity for the locals to meet the man standing for Parliament.
And in exchange, you're going to let me have this lease at these very generous terms.
Yes, you see, 10 years. 10 years is, It can be a lifetime now, can't it?
And I'm looking at this paper and I'm considering your words. I kind of lean forward and I say, I have a counter offer. You're going to sign this lease, this generous 10-year lease. In exchange, I won't let people know that your sister is being stepped out on by Don Miguel, thereby bringing intense shame and embarrassment to your entire family.
Signora, you play a very dangerous game. This is not the same as cards with old wives.
I don't know. Isabella, she's pretty mean with cards. She'll take me for the tip jar every time if she gets a chance.
It would seem you have a certain amount of leverage, and my sister has often been a problem. Truth be told, you may be just one fire I find myself having to put out. How about and I'll reach in and pull out one of those fancy new ballpoint pens. How about and I'll just mark straight across the rent, the whole amount. The rally, your silence, and 10 years of nothing but profit, Mamacita.
I'll accept those terms, but with one slight adjustment. And I'm afraid I can't write this one in. You run Tiago out of town and support
your son-in-law.
And support me in getting Maria's marriage to him annulled.
He's been useful to me over the years, but I do question some of his motives. Very well, Mamacita. I think we have, and I'll sign with a flourish, an agreement.